He thinks you're disposable, replaceable, just another name on the list. Good, let him think that. Because what comes next will shock him. This is not revenge, this is transformation. And once you rise, there's no going back. He thinks you need him, that without his approval, his praise, his recognition, you'll stall, you'll crumble, you'll fade into the background. That's the illusion people live in when they believe power is something they can give or take. But here's the truth, your power was never in his hands. It never was. It lives inside you, waiting to be unleashed, not handed to you like some gift. And the longer you wait for someone else to see your worth, the more you dim your own light. Waiting is a trap. It's a quiet key to suffocating betrayal of your potential. Because the longer you hesitate, hoping they'll come back or finally appreciate you, the more you betray yourself. There comes a point where you have to stop negotiating with doubt. Stop begging the world for validation. Stop asking, am I enough? And start declaring, I am everything. Your value does not fluctuate based on who stays or who leaves. Your identity isn't tied to who chooses you. It's built on who you choose to become. The moment you realize that no external opinion can define you, you begin to move differently. You carry yourself with a new kind of energy, an unapologetic confidence that doesn't shout for attention, but commands it with quiet force. Most people are taught to seek approval from parents, from teachers, from lovers. We grow up being told we need to fit in, to be like, to be acceptable. But greatness never fits in. Greatness stands out. The people who change the game, who rewrite the rules, who disrupt the norm. They don't seek permission. They own who they are. They walk into rooms like they belong there, not because someone invited them, but because they know they bring value no one else can replicate. That's what you must become. Not the version of you that asks for space, but the one who takes it. Understand this power is not a title. It's not a relationship status. It's not how many people applaud when you walk in the room. Power is self-trust. It's knowing that no matter who leaves, who doubts, who tries to replace you, you are still standing. You are still moving. You are still evolving. And eventually, they'll have to watch from a distance as you build the empire they never believed you could. That is power. To not only survive without them, but to thrive, to elevate in silence while they underestimate your every move. You don't need to prove them wrong to feel worthy, but you can prove them wrong to remind yourself just how unstoppable you really are. This isn't about revenge. This isn't about making someone regret letting you go. This is about waking up to the fire that's been buried beneath doubt for far too long. This is about lighting up your own path, regardless of who walks beside you. Because if your strength is dependent on someone else's recognition, then it was never strength to begin with. It was performance. And you're done performing. There is a version of you that doesn't flinch when someone underestimates you, a version that doesn't shrink when someone tries to replace you. That version is fierce, unshakable, fully alive. And it's waiting for you to stop asking for permission to rise. The moment you stop playing small to make others comfortable, you reclaim your voice. You stop existing in the shadow of someone else's choices. You stop letting someone else's departure define your worth. You become the person who doesn't need the stage to be powerful. Because your presence, your fire, your vision sets any room a stage. He left you doubting yourself, didn't he? The moment he chose someone else, something else, or simply walked away like you were a phase, your mind spiraled. That pain, that silence, it crept in like poison. whispering lies that you weren't enough. But rejection isn't the end of you. It's a redirection, a sharp, painful shove from the universe that says this wasn't your path. But there is one, better, bolder, waiting. Too many people freeze when they feel dismissed. But you don't freeze, you rise. Because when someone tries to erase you, that's your cue to rewrite everything. We're trained to associate rejection with worth, to believe that if someone chooses not to stay, it's because something in us was lacking. But that belief is broken, dangerous. It keeps people stuck. You weren't rejected because you lacked something. You were rejected because their vision was too small to hold your potential. Let that land. Some people can't handle your depth, your intensity, your ambition. So they leave. Not because you failed, but because they couldn't meet you at your level. That's not your loss. That's their limitation. And you must stop taking it personally. The people who rise the highest are the ones who turn pain into fuel. They don't bury their heartbreak. They build with it. Every no, every cold shoulder, every betrayal becomes another brick in the foundation of their next level. You think the most powerful people you admire haven't been replaced, left, overlooked. They have. The difference is, they refuse to let it define them. They used the pain. They turned it into precision, clarity, and obsession with becoming their highest self. Rejection forced them to evolve. And now it's your turn. You have two choices: collapse or convert. Collapse under the weight of doubt, or convert that weight into resistance training. Let the sting push you harder, faster, deeper into your purpose. Every time you're told you're not good enough, not wanted, not chosen, don't shrink. Sharpen, upgrade, ask yourself, what version of me is being born through this? You don't grow in comfort, you grow in discomfort. You grow when your heart breaks and your pride gets shattered. Because when there's nothing left to protect, everything can rise. Redirection feels cruel in the moment. Like a slap, like a closed door that mocks your effort. But when you zoom out, when you let time reveal the truth, you'll see it was divine. That rejection was protection. That closed door was sacred. Because had it worked out, you would have played smaller. You would have stayed safe, settled, played within their rules. But now, you get to create your own. Redirection doesn't steal your power. It exposes it. It gives you the blank page you never would have chosen, but now must write on. And this is where the transformation begins. Not in the applause, but in the silence. Not in the validation, but in the void they left. That void is yours to fill. With purpose, with discipline, with a level of self-respect that doesn't waver when someone walks away. Rejection doesn't mean you're broken. It means you're being redirected into alignment with a version of yourself that doesn't beg, chase, or crumble. It means something bigger is coming, and your only job now is to be ready. He's watching you now, isn't he? Not saying a word, but waiting. Waiting for signs of weakness, for you to break, to post something desperate, to show the world that his absence unraveled you. That's what people who try to replace you do. They count on your reaction to justify their decision. But here's the power move. Don't react. Don't explain. Don't give him the satisfaction of knowing he still holds space in your mind. Let your actions, your silence, your evolution, your wins be the loudest response he never saw coming. Because when results start speaking, they speak in volumes that no apology or excuse can ever match. Silence isn't weakness. It's focus. It's power. It's energy redirected inward toward the life you're building. Not the one that broke. Comfort is the key too. People mistake your stillness for surrender, but they're wrong. You're not inactive. You're intentional. You're not giving up. You're gearing up. When you channel all that pain into productivity, into purpose, into real personal growth, you become something far more dangerous than emotional. You become unstoppable. He won't see the shift coming because it's happening underground, at your core. And by the time he realizes it, your success will be too loud to ignore. Let him underestimate you. That's the best thing he could do for your journey. Because when they doubt you, they hand you the most valuable gift of all. Freedom. The freedom to move without their expectations, to rebuild without their interference, to define yourself on your own terms. This isn't about bitterness. This is about clarity. You now see the truth. What they thought you were is nowhere near what you actually are. And that realization alone is worth everything. Because now you're no longer trying to prove yourself to them. You're proving to yourself just how powerful you really are. Growth is the greatest form of revenge. Not loud words, not petty posts, not emotional breakdowns in public. Growth, the type of growth that makes people pause, makes them question everything they thought about you. That's the kind of power you're stepping into now. Let your new discipline speak. Let your new mindset echo through every decision you make. Show up differently. Show up so evolved, so polished, so focused that even your shadow looks stronger. You're not playing the same game anymore. And he won't even recognize the person you're becoming. Every move you make now must come from purpose. Every step forward should scream, I am not who you left. But don't waste your breath telling him that. Show it in the way you walk, the way you speak, the way you operate. Let your life become so refined, so elevated, that even if he tries to come back, he'd no longer qualify to be near it. That's not ego. That's growth. You're not proving him wrong for his sake. You're proving yourself right for your sake. And the difference is everything. Your results will speak. Your consistency will scream. And the best part? You won't need to say a word. The people who counted you out will have to watch you rise in silence, unable to interrupt, unable to deny what they once refused to see. Your wins will be louder than your pain. Your success will become the evidence of everything you've survived. So let him think you're done. Let him believe he replaced you. Just make sure that every move you make from now on makes that belief the biggest mistake of his life. He thought you were easy to replace. Like you were a placeholder, temporary, forgettable. Let him try. Because while he's out there looking for a cheaper version of you, you're out here becoming a force he can't even recognize. This is your moment to sharpen your edge. Not through bitterness, not through trying to prove something to him, but by becoming so excellent that even the thought of comparison becomes laughable. You don't compete with others. You rise beyond them. You don't get even. You get better, exceptionally better. So much so that the next time your name comes up, all they'll say is, she's on a whole other level now. The key to becoming unforgettable isn't in what you say. It's in how you carry yourself. It's in the hours no one sees. The effort you put in when no one's cheering is the key to when no one's watching. While he's entertaining the ordinary, you're mastering your craft. You're outworking, outlearning, outlasting. You're not begging for attention. You're commanding it with your evolution. This isn't about proving your worth to him. It's about building a life so powerful, so rich in value and growth, that his absence becomes irrelevant. You don't need to convince anyone you're irreplaceable. You just need to become someone who cannot be matched. Most people stay average because they want applause too early. They crave recognition before mastery. But that's not your path. You're building in silence. Let him post the pictures, tell the stories, pretend he upgraded. Let him indulge in surface level wins. Because while he's performing, you're preparing. While he's chasing the spotlight, you're becoming the fire. And fire doesn't need a stage. It creates one. The best version of you isn't loud. She's focused. She's relentless. She's building an empire brick by brick. And by the time they notice, the gates will already be closed. There is something magnetic about a person who becomes untouchable. Not because of arrogance, but because of excellence. You're not just healing. You're rising with intention. You're studying more, training harder, thinking sharper. You're not reacting emotionally. You're responding with evolution. That's the real glow up. When your success starts making noise without you having to open your mouth. When your name comes up and all they can do is shake their head in disbelief because the version of you they tried to walk away from no longer exists. You've outgrown their memory of you. Let's get real. If someone thought you were replaceable, they never understood what you brought to the table. But instead of trying to remind them, X-Pills build a whole new table. One where you set the terms, where you control the room, where your value is unquestionable. This is not just about improvement. It's about reinvention. This is about becoming the version of yourself that makes the past irrelevant. Be the person who doesn't look back, not out of pride, but because the future is finally more exciting than the memory of what was. It's not enough to say you're irreplaceable. You have to embody it. And that means refusing to stay in spaces that can't recognize your value. That means raising your standards, not your voice. Becoming the person who, if lost, is more, not because of what you gave others, but because of who you became. Let him try to replicate your energy. Let him seek what you had in someone else. The key to, because when you've done the real work, when you've refined your presence, mastered your purpose, and elevated your entire being, there is no substitute. There is only you. He thought you were easy to replace, like you were a placeholder, temporary, forgettable. Let him try. Because while he's out there looking for a cheaper version of you, you're out here becoming a force he can't even recognize. This is your moment to sharpen your edge. Not through bitterness, not through trying to prove something to him, but by becoming so excellent that even the thought of comparison becomes laughable. You don't compete with others, you rise beyond them. You don't get even, you get better, exceptionally better. So much so that the next time your name comes up, all they'll say is, "She's on a whole other level now." The key to becoming unforgettable isn't in what you say. It's in how you carry yourself. It's in the hours no one sees. The effort you put in when no one's cheering is the key to when no one's watching. While he's entertaining the ordinary, you're mastering your craft. You're outworking, outlearning, outlasting. You're not begging for attention. You're commanding it with your evolution. This isn't about proving your worth to him. It's about building a life so powerful, so rich in value and growth, that his absence becomes irrelevant. You don't need to convince anyone you're irreplaceable. You just need to become someone who cannot be matched. Most people stay average because they want applause too early. They crave recognition before mastery. But that's not your path. You're building in silence. Let him post the pictures, tell the stories, pretend he upgraded. Let him indulge in surface level wins. Because while he's performing, you're preparing. While he's chasing the spotlight, you're becoming the fire. And fire doesn't need a stage, it creates one. The best version of you isn't loud. She's focused. She's relentless. She's building an empire brick by brick, and by the time they notice, the gates will already be closed. There is something magnetic about a person who becomes untouchable. Not because of arrogance, but because of excellence. You're not just healing, you're rising with intention. You're studying more, training harder, thinking sharper. You're not reacting emotionally, you're responding with evolution. That's the real glow up. When your success starts making noise with having to open your mouth. When your name comes up is the key to, and all they can do is shake their head in disbelief because the version of you they tried to walk away from no longer exists. Is the key to, you've outgrown their memory of you. Let's get real, if someone thought you were replaceable, they never understood what you brought to the table. But instead of trying to remind them, AC build a whole new table. One where you set the terms, where you control the room, where your value is unquestionable. This is not just about improvement. It's about reinvention. This is about becoming the version of yourself that makes the past irrelevant. Be the person who doesn't look back, not out of pride, but because the future is finally more exciting than the memory of what was. It's not enough to say you're irreplaceable. You have to embody it. And that means refusing to stay in spaces that can't recognize your value. That means raising your standards, not your voice. Becoming the person who, if lost, is mourned. Not because of what you gave others, but because of who you became. Let him try to replicate your energy. Let him seek what you had in someone else. Because when you've done the real work, when you've refined your presence, mastered your purpose, and elevated your entire being, there is no substitute. There is only a you. The pain he caused wasn't just emotional. It hit your identity. It shook your confidence, your sense of self-worth, your belief in your own power. But here's what he never expected, that the very hurt he inflicted would become the fuel you needed. Most people crumble under pain. They shut down, turn inward, let the truly is the spark fade. But not you. You're turning pain into power. You're taking every wound, every lie, every moment of betrayal, and using it as evidence. Evidence that you were never weak. You were just waiting for the right fire to awaken everything inside of you. And now that it's lit, there's no turning back. People underestimate how much strength is born from heartbreak. They see tears and silence and think you're broken. But heartbreak is not the end. It's the beginning. Because when everything around you falls apart, you're forced to rebuild. And this time, you're not building from naivety or blind trust. You're building from experience. You've seen what it looks like to be taken for granted. You felt the sting of being overlooked. And now you know better. You move wiser, stronger, and more focused than ever before. That kind of clarity is a weapon. That kind of awareness. That's the beginning of transformation. You don't just bounce back from betrayal. You bounce higher. The pain becomes a mirror that shows you everything you ignored. The habits you tolerated. The standards you lowered, the versions of yourself you silenced just to keep someone else comfortable. But now, that pain has handed you a new level of truth. And truth is power. You're no longer negotiating your worth. You're no longer shrinking to fit into someone else's idea of who you should be. You're expanding, redefining, becoming, not to prove a point, but because the old version of you simply doesn't fit anymore. Every single hurtful word, every dismissive action, every moment you were made to feel small, it all has a place now. In your focus, in your routine, in your work ethic. You no longer need closure from him. Because the closure is in what you're building. You no longer need to hear, "I'm sorry," because you've outgrown the need for his words. You're speaking your own language now, one of growth, of purpose, of unstoppable momentum. And that's what people don't realize. Real healing doesn't always look gentle. So sometimes it looks like a woman doubling her income. Sometimes it looks like a man walking in with a fire in his eyes no one can put out. This isn't about being bitter. This is about being better. Not better than him. Better than who you were when you allowed less than you deserved. You're not in competition with your past. You're outgrowing it. The pain taught you that survival isn't enough. You're not just here to exist. You're here to thrive. And that means choosing yourself every single day, even when it's hard, especially when it's hard. Because the person you're becoming doesn't settle. She doesn't chase. She leads. He thought the pain would break you, but it's building a version of you that not even him, will ever have access to again. What they don't tell you is that the hurt will keep echoing until you do something with it, until you stop bearing it and start building from it. So you've made a decision not to carry the pain, but to use it. Every workout, every chapter you read, every late night spent working on your dream instead of texting someone who made you feel replaceable. That's power. That's healing. You're no longer driven by desperation. You're driven by vision. That vision may have been born in heartbreak, but it's rising in purpose. And no one, not even the one who caused the pain, can stop it now. Now that he's gone, now that the silence has settled, you finally have space to meet someone far more important than him. You, the real you. The one who existed before the doubt, before the compromises, before you dimmed your light to keep the peace. This is your clean slate. And it's terrifying, isn't it? Because you've spent so long pouring into someone else, trying to be chosen, trying to be enough, that you forgot how powerful it feels to choose yourself. But this is where everything changes. When you stop asking for permission and start reclaiming every piece of yourself that you gave away trying to keep love that was never meant for you. You're not broken. You're becoming. And becoming is messy. It means unlearning the lies you were fed. The ones that said your worth was tied to being desired. That love meant sacrifice at the cost of self. That silence meant strength. No. Real strength is standing in the mirror, eyes swollen from crying, and deciding that this is not the end. It's the origin. The rebirth. The point where you stop begging the world to see you and start seeing yourself. Because the version of you that's coming, she doesn't chase, she attracts, she doesn't settle, she chooses. This is where self-respect becomes your new love language. Not the performative kind, not the loud kind, but the kind that shows up in decisions, in boundaries. Calm fully is the key to in the way you no longer explain your standards. You're not cold. You're clear. You're not bitter. You're healed. You no longer seek validation from someone who couldn't recognize your worth. You've tasted your own power now. You know what it feels like to disappoint others, so you can stop disappointing yourself. That shift, that self-worth in action. And once you embody that, you become unshakable. Your new energy doesn't beg to be noticed. It can't be ignored. You're no longer performing for someone's approval. You're moving with purpose, with peace. Calm fully is the key to. You've stopped searching for someone to fill your gaps and started filling them with growth, with gratitude. Truly is the key to with your own damn greatness. That's what makes you magnetic. Not the pain you've been through, but the way you've turned that pain into presence. People will feel it when you walk into a room. The difference. the depth, the grounded certainty that comes from knowing you don't need anyone to complete you. The key to, and while he may have tried to replace you, he'll never find what you've now become. Because you've transcended the version of yourself he walked away from. You've evolved into someone who's not driven by revenge, by reinvention. You're building a life so full, so rich in purpose, so grounded in authenticity, that even if he wanted to return, he wouldn't recognize the woman standing there. You've shed the layers you once wore for his comfort. Now you wear truth. You wear confidence. You wear power that didn't come easy, but came earned. You're not doing this to prove anything to him. Is the key to. That was the old you, the one who thought healing meant showing them what they lost. But this isn't about them. It's about the legacy you're building, the impact you're making, the quiet moments where you look in the mirror and finally see someone whole. Someone enough, someone unshakable, because the greatest comeback isn't loud. It's internal, it's sacred. And it starts the moment you realize you were never meant to be chosen by them. You were meant to choose yourself. And now, you finally have. The truth is, he thought he could move on from you easily because he never truly saw you. He saw the version of you that made life easy for him. The one who lowered her voice to avoid conflict. The one who apologized first just to keep the peace. The one who gave endlessly while asking for crumbs. He mistook your kindness for weakness. Your forgiveness for foolishness. Your loyalty for naivety. But what he didn't realize was that version of you, the one he took for granted, was temporary. She was the blueprint, is the key to, not the final build. And now that she's gone, he won't even recognize the masterpiece you're becoming. You gave him the benefit of the doubt, again and again. You rationalized his behavior. You made excuses he never earned. Why? Because you saw potential. You saw what he could be if he just tried, if he just chose you fully. But the truth is, you can't love someone into becoming who they're not ready to be. You can't build a future with someone who still sees your worth as optional. And when that reality hit, it hurt. Is the key to it broke something open inside of you. But in that breaking, something new was born. A version of you that refuses to settle for almosts, for maybes, for potential. Because the new you, the one emerging from the ashes, is not chasing anyone. She's not seeking approval or hoping to be enough. She knows she's enough. She doesn't need to be explained, defended, or proved. She's not defined by who chooses her. She's defined by who Susha chooses. And she chooses peace. She chooses purpose. She chooses power. She knows now that anyone who walks away, thinking they can replace her, is not a loss. It's a lesson. A lesson in boundaries, in self-respect, in never again shrinking to fit into spaces that were never designed for your fullness. He thought losing you would be like losing comfort, a soft landing he could eventually replace. But what he didn't realize was that he lost a storm disguised as calm. He lost a woman who was built to rise, built to withstand, to outlast, to evolve. He didn't lose someone easy. He lost the rare kind of person who doesn't come twice. And as you step into this new chapter, stronger, wiser, unshakable, he'll feel that loss in ways he won't be able to put into words. Because when a real one walks away, the silence that follows is deafening. So now it's your move. This isn't about revenge. This is about S's rebirth. You're not here to prove him wrong. You're here to prove for yourself right. That every ounce of love, fire, and potential you once poured into him now belongs to you. Don't wait for recognition. Don't hope for closure. You already have everything you need to rise within you. So stop watching. Stop doubting. Stop waiting for the right time. Talkers, this is the fire. Clax, the other said, this is called your comeback. Now go build a life so bold, so undeniable, so unforgettable, that even the thought of replacing you becomes the punchline to a sad, old joke. Sis, if you're ready to reclaim your power, rewrite your story, and become the version of yourself they'll never recover from, then start right now. For like, share, subscribe, and remember, this is just the beginning. You don't owe him a breakdown. You don't owe the world an explanation. What you owe yourself now is consistency, discipline, vision. Confidence is the key to you owe yourself. You once tried to build with someone who didn't even bring tools to the table. The key to you're not here to prove you're better than her. The new one he's showing off. Truly is the key to you're here to prove you're better than the old version of you. The one who kept believing love meant suffering. The one who thought being chosen was the goal. No. Being aligned, being at peace, being whole, that's the real prize. And that's what you're walking toward now. Let him think he upgraded. Let him post pictures and pretend he's winning. Because you know what real winning looks like. Waking up with clarity. Going to sleep with peace. No longer needing external validation to feel worthy. Building your own table, setting your own terms, and living a life so rich in joy, growth, and authenticity that no comparison can touch it. He may have walked away thinking he replaced you, but one day he'll realize you weren't just another chapter, you were a damn story, and no one tells it like you do, so now it's your move. This isn't about revenge. This is about the sixth rebirth. You're not here to prove him wrong. You're here to prove yourself right, that every ounce of love, fire, and potential you once poured into him now belongs to SU. Don't wait for recognition. Don't hope for closure. You already have everything you need to rise within you, so stop watching. Stop doubting. Stop waiting for the right time. Look, only have 60 times. This is the fire television. This is your comeback of. Now go build a life so bold, so undeniable, so unforgettable, that even the thought of replacing you becomes the punchline to a sad, old joke. If you're ready to reclaim your power, rewrite your story, and become the version of yourself they'll never recover from, then start right now. Like, share, subscribe, and remember, this is just the beginning, Buckus.